like that. Woo! What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull-Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, a.k.a. B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos by hitting that notification bell. Buy a subscribe button. Let's get it popping. Got another good show for y'all right now, man. We were on a pretty late last night talking about DeAndre Ayton. Had a lot of good discussion. If you guys have not checked out that video, go and check it out right now. It was just streamed about, I think, 10 hours ago. So very good show for y'all last night. But we are back with another one this morning, early the top of the morning. And another good topic we got, man. Like I said, training camp is already started, already kicked off. So we are, getting ready for the NBA season. I think preseason starts literally this weekend for my team, the Clippers. I think they're playing Seattle, and then they play in LA and Ontario and a couple other places. But then, yeah, pretty much that's what the case is going on right now. Y'all hit that like button to get the notifications out there as well. What's good, my guy, Elise? What's good, brother? It's going to be a hot one, bro. It's going to be a very good one right here for y'all, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, get up in here. I decided to do an early show because I'm pretty, empty. I ain't got nothing else to do. So I moved my night show to right now. So that's where we at. But we got a good one for y'all today, man. And if you guys have not already, go and follow my guy, Elise, on his YouTube page right there. Y'all can see his page, The Real Elise. So if you guys have not already, go and follow him. Good content, good basketball content, cool dude, all the whole nine. We need to talk about this situation surrounding this guy. Zion Williamson, the freak, Thor, first draft pick, you know what I mean? Yes, sir. Like, share, subscribe, ladies and gents, please. Yes, sir. Like, share, and subscribe. We need to get to, Zion Williamson, bro. And it's a trip that you really don't really know what's going on unless you really, really tune in and stay plugged in. And from Zion Williamson, what's going on with him is I'm like, okay, hold up. I got to do a story because I ain't did no videos on Zion Williamson. Now, he's actually somebody in the league that I think is going to be I think he's going to be one of the top pure players next year. I think he's going to be a top 10 player in the season. I think he has all the tools, all the dominance to be a top 10 player. I think the Pelicans are going to be my dark horse. That's going to be my dark horse in the NBA. For people who don't know what the dark horse is, it's a team that comes out the woodworks that surprises a lot of teams, kind of like what the Mavs did last year, get into the third round. I expect him being the same, the Pelicans, based off what I've seen. But it's been reported that by Willie Green that Zion Williamson is back in shape. He looks great in scrimmages and training camp, and he's ready to go. Okay, that's what Willie Green, the head coach of the Pelicans, have said. He's getting off on the floor. He's dunking. He's running the floor correctly. He has a good attitude. Looks in shape. All that good stuff, right? He looks like a wrecking ball. That's the words that Willie Green used to describe Zion Williamson so far in training camp. Larry Nance, another one of the players on the Pelicans, said the same thing. He looks great. He doesn't look like he even took a year off of basketball, so he looks absolutely in shape. Salute. I thought Zion was on the show. Yeah, man. Salute, Bubba. But it kind of got to me as it's a question that needs to be asked, man. And I think really needs to be asked, like, honestly, do NBA players need to be monitored? Okay, do NBA players need to be monitored? I'm going to get to why I'm asking that question shortly. And, we can go from there. But I think we need to talk about this because this has been something that's been not just a question I asked about Williams. I'm talking about other players in the NBA as well. When it talks about, certain guys, do certain things have to motivate them to get their stuff together. Okay, so let's get to it. I'm going to play a clip. Well, actually, I'm going to explain a couple things. I'm going to play this clip. over the summertime, Zion Williamson there were speculations of him not wanting to be in New Orleans. He wanted to be in a bigger market. He wanted to be in New York, all this other stuff, yada, 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 in the media. And, there are people who thought he wasn't going to stay in New Orleans. He was up for another big deal. And people didn't know if he was going to stay with the Pelicans or not, because New Orleans is not a big city. So they were talking about him going to New York, to the Knicks. And, when you start seeing some of the things that Zion Williamson was doing, and as far as him kind of being away from away from the cameras and stuff like that, you kind of ask yourself, okay, what's going on with Zion? Does he really want to be in New Orleans? Does he really want to play basketball? Because you have photos of him looking like he was out of shape, looking like, y'all can't really see it here, but there's pictures last year y'all could see that he was just looking like he was completely out of shape. He wasn't feeling it. He wasn't trying to really trying to play. And he was just, overweight. I think at one point he's like at 300-something pounds. For a basketball player, that's too big. He's only 6'6" to be that size, and then have to, use athleticism. That's too much on a man's, legs, his joints, all that stuff. Keep hitting that like button. But Zion Williamson came out and said before he signed his big deal for 5 years, $193 million over the summer on his birthday, he talked about what was going on and how he felt, how people were unfairly criticizing him as if, he didn't want to play basketball, he didn't want to be with the team. So I'm going to play a little bit of a clip, and I'm going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. So let's get it going.
The last few months were a roller coaster of emotions. I felt it the most for my family, because at the beginning of the season, I told the world, if y'all ever want to know if I want to be here, just ask me. And instead of asking me, the world just ran with narratives. And so when my family was going out in public, they're getting harassed by people on why we don't like New Orleans or why I don't want to be here, when that's not the case at all. My foot was, I wasn't able to play because my foot was broke. So that sucked. Every time I check my phone, it's always something negative. Even when you're trying to make positive of the situation, it was very tough. So it was a roller coaster for sure, but my family, Pels, Miss Benson, they were always there. Griff would call me in his office too much if you ask me. But him and Trajan would always drop gems on me. They would just give me knowledge on the situation, what they think I can do to mentally feel better. They always offered help when they didn't have to do that. Coach Green, same for him. He kept his distance, but he also would come drop gems on me. So the people I needed to be there for me, they were all there. Pelicans, my family, all my friends. Despite it being a roller coaster of emotions, they helped me get through the tough times.
All right. So that was a clip of Zion Williamson speaking about the last few months, or, pretty much the entire summer. And even going back to last year, of how he felt like, many people were kind of just acting like he was just, playing around, like he wasn't actually, actually injured. Now, if you heard him in the interview, he said he was dealing with a broken foot. So we ain't seen him really play since the year prior to that. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with people in the media, you're dealing with people who are looking to cover a story, they'll put something out there as if it's the truth. And I've had problems with that as well with the media. But, certain things, the media puts out, they are just kind of just reporting what the news is. Do I particularly think Zion Williamson was faking the injury? I don't think he was faking it. But I think this question needs to be asked. Is more players need to be monitored, because he signed his deal, like the interview we just seen. He signed his big deal, 5 year, $193 million. And there's a clause, there's like a stipulation in there saying like you have to maintain a certain amount of weight, right? Or you're gonna be your money's gonna be compensated. It's gonna be negotiated, whatever specifics is in their contract. But I know is that basically he has to hold up his side of the bargain for him to get his money, right? That money that they offered him, 5 year, $193 million. That sounds like to me you're trying to monitor a player and try to keep your eyes on him. Zion's 22 years old. Keep in mind he's still a young man, so he's he hasn't fully even developed. He's kind of just starting life. So I guess you can say at 22 you don't really know the business well enough to be. Can we trust you with this money? That's what it's going to kind of. Can we trust you? And it's been players in the league who's taking that route where 1 minute when they're not getting what they want, they look like this guy, James Harden, the left, but when they finally, get their way, then they want to get back in shape and, actually play. Y'all remember I think, what was it, 2 seasons ago? I think 2 seasons ago, where James Harden was traded from Houston to the Brooklyn Nets. And at first, it was reported that he wanted to get out of Houston because he felt like the team wasn't going anywhere. He's been there. I think he was there for like 9 years, and they didn't win no championship. They had their best run, I think, in 2017, 2018. That was probably the deepest they went. But after that, they didn't really make any noise in the playoffs. And James Harden just seen the writing on the wall, and he said, I got to get me out of here. You got to get me up out of here. I can't win here. I can't win with this team. And on his way out of Houston, he started, complaining to complaining about being there. He said about a press conference, he felt like they weren't good enough. And he felt like, they weren't going to, win anything. So he started being out of shape. He started, not wanting to play hard. And it was just unbearable to the point where he couldn't really maintain. I think he got into with certain players during training camp and practice. So, and he just had to go. He just had to leave. So that's what a lot of these players will do when they don't get their way. But then you go to Brooklyn when you get a chance to team up with KD and Kyrie for a ring, and then all of a sudden you want to look like this on the right. So players know how to get in shape. Players know how to work, especially guys of this nature, who's been in the league for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm going with it. Look at some of these comments. That run with CP3, yeah, that 17-18 run, that was the best run. He said James Harden overrated. I mean, when he was in the peak of his powers, I think from like 13 to about 2018, 19, that was probably his best. That was his best run. Like that was his prime years. When he was taking Houston to deep into the playoffs and things of that nature. So I mean, he's not overrated, but I think, he's just part of a certain group that, and that's okay. Let me say a few more things. So this goes on a lot, and a lot of times people look at NBA players today as somewhat coddled and spoiled. Am I saying William Zion is that type of person? I don't know him personally, but based off of who he is, I think he's a good young man. I think he's respectful. I think he doesn't cause no problems, no trouble. I think he's very, came from a good family, good home. So I don't have no problems with Zion in that sense. But what I'm saying is, if it took them putting a stipulation inside your contract, you got to maintain a certain weight, then that's an issue because it shows me like they don't feel like you're focused enough. I think he did going through what he was going through personally, I guess with his injury. And the stress of the media experience and all that. I think he did use the escape of eating to suppress his emotions. I think that did happen. I don't think that he just was, I mean, you gained all that weight from somehow. You weren't working hard in the off season like you could. You weren't putting the right food in your body, and it's understandable. Like again, he's still a 22-year-old kid, and some people just don't mature as fast as others. But I'm starting to see a little bit of a wave that players, if they're not getting their way and if they get their money, it somewhat sets them up to just kind of just coast, take time off or not work as hard or not take their craft as serious. As a lot of players in the older days who weren't given the type of money that they're given now. So as any human being would, most of the times we want to feel comfortable. And if we feel like we're in a position of power, it's easy to somewhat abuse it. And I think a lot of times this NBA, the players have a lot of power, they have a lot of leeway, they have a lot of resources that the players back in the other days didn't have. And it could get to a point where, sometimes they could be a little bit divas in the NBA. That's just my opinion, right? You're not going to have to work as hard. I mean, if I'm thinking about it, I'm working my entire life to get to a point, a position in life, and I finally get there. I'm finally getting my millions. I'm gonna enjoy that. I'm gonna enjoy that gravy train of getting paid millions to play a game that I love. And I'm like, I worked all my life. I worked hard as hell to get here. And now I got my money, I can chill a little bit. Right? But I dropped the link if anybody want to come in here. I know it's an early stream, not as many people on, but if anybody want to come in here and cook on this, they can. TuneIn Sports said, yeah, Boogie and Jay Wall wasn't taking James Harden. Yeah, I remember they got into it in the locker room, or after. I think in the press conference, Boogie came out and said he only came to play with John Wall, and he called out James Harden for being selfish and being unfair to the team. So, I mean, hey, to each is his own. To each is his own. So, if anybody wants to come and cook on this, but they can. But I just feel like this. I think if it takes another team, another player, if it takes somebody to motivate you like that, man, like I just think, that to me is just too much to deal with. I think you should be self-motivated enough to keep yourself in shape. If you're playing basketball, you have a job to keep yourself in shape and eat healthy. That's it. And be ready for the game. That's it. It's not something where you having to work a 9 to 5. You're not having to put yourself in extreme conditions working. You get a chance to really, play what you want to do. It's really no excuse not to be ready. And you're getting paid millions of dollars. So I'm gonna open the chat line and see what y'all want. If y'all don't want to talk, then we will definitely continue probably, if not tonight, tomorrow. But I have to just touch on this because I think that it's warranted. It's well warranted. Y'all must be at work or something. Y'all gotta be off at work if y'all not in here. But I won't be on here like this much. I'll just do this morning because I was free to do a stream. So that's why I'm in here. It might give me something to eat. I'm actually starving. Whew. Well, it looks like that concludes today's short snippet. I just wanted to get in here and talk about that real quick, man. But like I said, we'll be either back tonight or tomorrow. And we will talk about this another time, man. But until next time, can continue to follow the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, Cash App, $ BJ Matthews. Like, share, subscribe all of our YouTube videos by hitting the notification bell, by subscribe button, as well as continue to share the podcast with people. family, friends who are also basketball players as well. Pull up a seat, pull up a chair, put a lot of peace. I like swimwear.